Um, so today I have two roles that I want to talk about. I'm a venture capitalist and I invest in internet companies, one in Italy finally. And I'm also the head of a nonprofit organization called Creative Commons with people in 80 countries. And neither of these positions would have any meaning. Neither of these would exist. In fact, I wouldn't exist if there was no internet. And I think that I have to kind of give you my first confession that if internet were religion, I would be a strong believer. And I believe very strongly that like free markets, free trade, open government, in retrospect, it will become very obvious that whether we like it or not, internet is a fundamental part of the infrastructure and of the environment of the future. So whether you like it or not, I think we're stuck with internet. And you can either win and become stronger with internet, or you can fail. And Japan has some things that we are successful and some things that we fail. I'll try to share some of these ideas, but mainly what I want to talk about today is how I think you can succeed with the internet, both politically, socially, economically. And if you look at the countries like the United States that are growing in the face of internet, they have a completely new way of creating companies, creating economic value, creating innovation in the internet. It's a completely different, upside-down, inside-out way of doing anything. And I think that it's kind of, I want to describe a little bit about some of the mechanics and some of the detail of how things work. I want to first talk about how innovation has changed. Because if you look at the economy today, if you look at all of the big companies in the world, many of them are internet companies. Most of them come from America. And I want to kind of talk about why I think that's true. So first of all, the way that innovation happened before the internet, and in many sectors it still is the way that we do innovation. Because Telecom Italia is my host, I'm going to pick on their industry first. But, and I think, you know, again, I work very closely with the Japanese telephone company. And the telephone company in Japan is one of the smartest companies about this space. Their research centers are the best. I met the head of R&D of Telecom Italia. He was the smartest guy in information technology that I had ever met. And so it's not the lack of expertise. I think it's the structure makes it quite difficult to create Google inside of a telephone company. And maybe let me describe a little bit why. So this chart that you see is kind of how innovation happened before we had internet. So you have here, we still have ITU. ITU, again, is a very important organization, but everyone is wearing a business suit. Many people are from big companies, and they sit and they try to anticipate every single possible problem that you would have, and they take many years to come up with a specification. And if you've ever seen an ITU specification, it's like this thick. I remember when I saw X25, it's this thick. And it has every possible, it's the smartest experts you can imagine sitting around for years and years and years describing this process. And then they create a specification, and the specification is so huge that only a huge company could ever do it. Big R&D lab, smartest R&D guys you can ever imagine, and they spend billions of dollars creating a network like GSM or you know, the old telephone system. And then you get these large contractors who provide products and services to customers, and these customers buy these services, and then they pay fees and tax, and then back to the government. And this is the kind of slow cycle of how information technology used to work generally, and now still works in many layers, but it's very different and kind of opposite of how internet works.